Have you ever gotten that look? You know the one. Someone walks by your desk, sees the piles of paper, the scattered pens, and you can just feel them judging. Well, today we're going to flip that whole idea on its head. We're exploring the surprising and, frankly, intellectual virtue of a messy desk. Right? This is the big question. It's a phrase we've all heard a million times. We see clutter and we immediately think chaos. A cluttered desk must mean a cluttered mind. But what if that's completely wrong? What if there's a much deeper story being told by those piles of paper? So on one hand, you've got the myth, the stuff we always hear, that mess means you're chaotic, lazy, unproductive. But what if the reality is the exact opposite? What if that desk is actually the sign of someone who is creative, incredibly efficient, maybe even a genius? Let's dive in. Okay, so to really get our heads around this, we need a new way of thinking. This brings us to our first big idea, selective organization. And trust me, it's probably not what you're picturing. First things first, let's get this straight. We are not talking about just random, total disorganization. There's a method to this madness, and it's actually a pretty sophisticated system when you look closer. And here it is, selective organization. It's a system where the stuff you use the most, the stuff that's most important, is literally right at your fingertips. Your most urgent project, your favorite pen, those notes for your next call, they're all right there. Everything else gets pushed to the side. It's a workspace organized by priority, not by how tidy it looks. Go on, do it. Picture your own desk right now. What's sitting right there, within arm's reach? Probably your keyboard, your coffee, your phone. But what else? I bet the files for that big project you're working on are pretty close, right? See, you're likely already using selective organization and you didn't even know it. So now that we know what this system is, let's get to the really good part. What's the upside? Why is this actually a good thing? Let's unpack the unexpected benefits, the real virtue of clutter. Check this out. When you have different ideas and objects out in the open, your brain starts making connections you wouldn't otherwise make. It actually sparks creativity. It also shows that you're prioritizing your actual workflow over just looking neat. And a desk that can change on the fly, well, that reflects a mind that's flexible and can adapt. Best of all, sometimes you stumble on an old book or a forgotten note, and bam, a brilliant new idea. That's pure, beautiful, serendipitous discovery. And you know who was a big proponent of this idea? Only one of the greatest minds in history, Albert Einstein. He famously fired back with this quote: "It's just a fantastic way to make you stop and think. Maybe a pristine empty desk isn't the goal after all." And believe me, Einstein was not alone in this. This is not some new productivity trend. We're talking about a legacy of creative clutter that stretches way back. From Mark Twain, who was practically buried in paper, to Einstein himself, all the way up to Steve Jobs and his famously chaotic office. These innovators were focused on their ideas, not on the aesthetics of their workspace. So let's bring all this back to you. It's time to look at your own desk a little differently. What you might have been calling chaos for years could actually be your own unique, highly effective system. Seriously, that stack of papers? That's not a mess. Think of it as your physical to-do list, with the most important stuff right on top. And those books scattered around? That's your intellectual toolkit, always ready to go. You have to remember, it's not a mess, it's a method. And that's what I want to leave you with. From now on, instead of asking if your desk is messy, ask yourself a better question. Is it working for you? Does it reflect a mind that is active, engaged, and full of ideas? So take another look. What does your desk really say about you?